Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you my review of the Season 3 premiere of Penny Dreadful on Showtime. Of course, the actual premiere is tonight, but like usual, Showtime usually does this with this show. They release the premiere episode a week early. They did this with Season 2. I remember watching it in school. And then in Season 1, I'm pretty sure they did something similar to sort of, help promote, like, the first season especially and stuff. I didn't get around to watching it until now, but I figured it'd sort of be a better idea for me to space out this review and the review of Game of Thrones, which will be coming later tonight. So I can kind of give them more individual focus instead of watching them back to back, which would be kind of overwhelming. Because Game of Thrones and Penny Dreadful, they're some of the absolute best shows on television, bar none, no question. So I'd really love to give them more individual focus instead of taking notes on both of them in a row, then trying to remember back to this and then talking about that. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just watched the premiere episode of Penny Dreadful Season 3. It was called The Day Tennyson Died. Oh, wow. Really, really good episode. Really good start to Season 3. Like I said, Penny Dreadful, it's an amazing show. In my opinion, one of the absolute best out there right now. Could be very well be the best. I could not argue if someone said that. Just the writing, the dialogue, and as a whole, the characters, acting, the sets, the tone, the supernatural, dark, gritty tone to it. It's just really, it's been really good ever since Season 1. I wasn't sure if the premiere of the season was going to live up to what the Season 2 premiere did for me. Because, as I said, I watched the Season 2 premiere in school when I was in the library at my school. And I just, got really excited about watching that. It just kind of blew me away when I first seen it. And this premiere, at first I was like, okay, it's a different kind of premiere. We're not necessarily, getting, thrown right into the thick of things. Like when the witches, just attacked Ethan and Vanessa in the Season 2 premiere. We're more so, checking in with all of our characters, sort of getting a lay of where they're all at, dealing with their own individual issues and why. But then the hook at the end of the episode, the big character reveal, just really nailed it in for me. This may have actually been a better all-around episode than the Season 2 premiere. I'd have to go back and watch it again, but this episode really drew me back into the show. As if I wasn't, excited enough already, I'm now hyped as hell to see where the season goes. I don't know if I can hold back telling you about the ending. But we'll get to it in a little bit later in the review. Also, I have a Penny Dreadful poster coming. I was planning on putting right in the background over there. I was planning moving the 100 poster up, to about this high or so, and then putting my Penny Dreadful Vanessa poster about where the 100 one is right now, or a little bit lower. But it's taking quite a while to get here. It's not estimated to get here now until the 24th. I was hoping to have it up for the premiere, but it is what it is. I also have a Vanessa Ives figure on the way, and you'll be sure I'll review that when I do get it in. But anyway, like I said, really good premiere episode overall. It really did a fantastic job of sort of pulling us back in and giving us updates on all our characters, while at the same time introducing a big threat without, just shoving it right in right away. One thing I did want to mention is the intro to the show. I still really like the music to it and everything. The show just has great music to it, great score all around. But the intro, as cool as the graphics are, I feel like they should update it somehow. I don't know. Not change the music or anything, but more so like the shots and stuff that we see in it. And also the credit order still kind of confuses me. We have Reeve Carney credited first, and then eventually it goes into Eva Green and Josh Hartnett. That order just kind of confuses me. Anyway, a big part of this episode, like I said, is of course checking with all our characters, and the first character we see is of course Vanessa. And before we see her, though, we see the house, the Sir Malcolm's estate, and you see the house is just completely gone down the tubes. It's dirty, it's dust, there's dust all over the place, cobwebs, things like that. Of course the mail is piling up, and at first I thought it was actually abandoned, but then we see Vanessa. She's just sort of laying around. She's just completely let go of all of it. After the events of last season, and we find out more as it goes along, she's sort of like lost her faith, or maybe she believes that faith has left her in another sense. But it was really interesting and at the same time sad, to see her in this state as well. We see that she's living on the bare essentials. Like she has just like a tray she pulls out of like bread, milk. I think there's some kind of vegetable there, or something like that, fruit maybe. So she's really not, just not giving a shit anymore. The way I speak it does in no way match the eloquency and the, the fantastic, fancier writing of the show. But I do what I can here. I talk about it like I can, so. But I nonetheless found it really interesting for Vanessa's character, and she actually goes through a really interesting process in this episode alone. She sort of gets a sense of herself back by episode's end, which I found to be an intriguing process and development right off the bat for the season. We do see Mr. Lyle visit her. He's checking up on her, he'd written her letters, and he'd be almost offended if he didn't know what she has dealt with and what she is still probably dealing with to a certain extent anyway. Even though it seems like there has been like a time where nothing like overly bad has happened, they're still all kind of lolling in the aftermath of what did in season 2, of course. Mr. Lyle ends up referring her to a Dr. Seward, who, if you've been keeping up the news about the show, is a character that we knew was going to be introduced this season. And we'll talk more about her in a few minutes. And, it was kind of touching, and again, at the same time sad to see Vanessa sort of crawling around and, sort of trying to get comfort and letting Mr. Lyle, comfort her and stuff like that. It was nice, and again, at the same time sad. And at the same time, Vanessa, hasn't been really keeping her appearance up either. She's been very much stuck in the house. Not stuck, she's chosen not to really leave at all. And, she hasn't really been keeping up her appearances either. Eva Green, of course, she's always, gorgeous, but you could tell they didn't really use as much makeup on her. In this one, it's really sold where the character's at, what mindset she's in. But her hair is messier, and she's not really caring exactly what she's wearing and stuff, which again adds to the interesting character dynamic and development that goes on in this episode, like I had talked about. Then we see the New Mexico territory, of course following up on where Ethan's been at, and we knew he was going back to America. We knew he was going to be transported back there. Of course, he's still with Detective or Inspector Rusk, and I forget what the character's name was. Give me a second, guys. Okay, but the main daughter to Helen McCrory's character back from season 2, Evelyn Poole, her daughter. Suddenly I'm forgetting her name. If you guys would please just give me a second. I feel embarrassed. Don't bash me too much. Let's see. Hecate, yeah, okay. Sorry about that, guys. But anyway, Hecate, we see she's also on board the train. Of course, I knew that was something to play into what actually ended up happening, but it looks like Hecate's role is going to become bigger as it goes along. She's kind of following Ethan. She's probably going to end up doing something to free him at some point. But what ends up happening is that these men end up, shooting down the guards that were put around Ethan and, getting him off the train. Rusk is shot at, but, he survives, but, he loses Ethan. And the men that we see Ethan taken by, it turns out they're pretty much men sent by his father. His father really wants to see him and doesn't want to see him necessarily imprisoned or executed, at least not this quickly. Which is, again, an interesting development. And with where Sir Malcolm's at, he's in, I think it was Germany, East Africa. And, of course, he had buried Sambeni. And, I actually thought, I wasn't sure if Sambeni was permanently dead. I actually thought we were going to kind of see the burial, and maybe he turned out to be some kind of weird witch doctor type thing, and he sort of, like, come back on his own. Which, he still might, but it seems like Sambeni is probably permanently dead at this point. Which is sad, but, we have all these other, new characters being introduced, so I understand that they had to make room, and, he did, although I would have liked to have gotten more about him personally, I think Sambeni, he was well done. His ending was fitting, I suppose, for his friend Ethan Chandler, if you guys remember how that ended in season 2. But it is a little bit disappointing that we didn't get more of Sambeni while he was around, but it still wasn't badly done or anything, is what I'm saying. And again, with where Malcolm was at, buried Sambeni, and we hear like a narration, of him writing to Vanessa, saying, revisiting Africa basically didn't give him like the same spark or rush that he initially got from all his travels. He's an explorer, world renowned. And he talks about seeing all this slave trade going on and different things of that nature of corruption. That has really made him believe that the land has been tainted. It doesn't really, it's not filled with what he remembered cherishing and things like that. And he ends up being ambushed. I'm not sure if these are just like thugs or criminals or something, but this Native American ends up saving him. And I mean no offense by that, I just cannot remember the character's name. But I recognize the actor. The actor, I think, was in Battlestar Galactica or something like that, I want to say. But I know he was also in, I remember seeing him in season 6 of Dexter. He was the doctor who Travis Marshall, was seeing in his mind, except he was, spoilers, already dead. So let me see something about that real quick. Galactica, am I right? Yep. Yeah, he was one of the main stars of Battlestar Galactica, the 2004 series. Very close to getting the actor's name. Excuse me for not knowing it. But yeah, Edward James Olmos. Yeah, now that I hear the name, he's been on a ton of different roles. And so it's good to see him on this show. It adds even more credit to Penny Dreadful. Not that I didn't have a lot already, but it's just, piling on how good the show actually is. And he ends up telling Malcolm about Ethan Chandler's predicament, not in detail, but he says that he needs his help. And he talks about how he's a son to both of them, to try and motivate Malcolm. I don't think this guy is actually Ethan's father, but I think he's probably connected to the tribes and Ethan's knowledge of the natives and stuff. Ethan probably spent some time with them, probably mainly regarding the curse he has to deal with. So this is a very interesting character to be introduced to, I think. It looks like him and Sir Malcolm are going to be traveling to America to try and free Ethan. I'm not sure how long this whole thing is going to last. I'd imagine they'd still be there, or still be going after Ethan for at least a couple or a few more episodes, but we'll see where it goes. It should be cool. And then we also check in with Mr. Clare, or Caliban, or the Creature, and we see that the ship he was on ended up being stuck and frozen, and we see the crew, they've just been, they've been dying left and right. We see like a pile of bodies on the deck and stuff, and we see the crew's trying to talk about cannibalism and talking about eating the bodies up there, and then there's this kid that's getting more and more ill. He's slowly dying, and it appears that Mr. Clare and the captain are the only ones who are still kind of holding out from pursuing that idea of cannibalism. And one of the guys tries to go for the boy, saying we should just put him out of his misery and eat. But Mr. Clare stands in his way, which is a good moment. But then Mr. Clare gets motivation, and we see he has these visions. It seems like he might actually be starting to remember his past, or what he was before he was killed and brought back by Victor. We see him, it looked to be his wife and his son, so maybe that's why he cared for the boy as he did. So maybe a thing of that coming back into his life. He's starting to remember certain things, which is going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see if he finds out more about the way he used to live and what it was composed of. But he ends up immersing the boy himself. He snaps his neck, which is it's not pleasant to see a boy get his neck snapped in real life or in TV or movies. But I understood the way he did it, and I'm guessing the captain is probably gonna keep the others from eating him. But Mr. Clear leaves at that point. I talked about the native and Sir Malcolm. Let's see. And we see another scene of the men who took Ethan. I told you about that. They're his father's men, and Ethan basically tells him good luck about getting him there. Of course, obviously, I thought, we'll probably see more of that as it gets into the season. And then we're introduced to Dr. Jekyll. And if you guys don't know who Dr. Jekyll is, he's, of course, is another pretty major horror literature character, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. We just meet Dr. Jekyll in this episode, though, but I'm sure we'll be introduced to the Mr. Hyde side of him a little bit later into the season. But he visits Victor. We see Victor's at a very low point himself. He's been injecting himself over and over again with we've seen his drug problems in the previous seasons. He's been getting to that again and just completely put down by what he's created, the monsters, as he puts it. We find out him and Dr. Jekyll are actually classmates at one point. Victor tells him about the monsters he created, and I actually had to take another whole page of notes. Let's see, and Victor basically ends up wanting Dr. Jekyll to help kill Lily. It's funny to say kill Lily because that's my girlfriend's name, but anyway. And he brings up how apparently Dr. Jekyll used to have this inner rage within him, and to be whispering to himself in the night and stuff. I don't know if Victor seen the full out Dr. Jekyll side of him, and we don't know what that side of him looks like. That we don't know if he's gonna have a massive mutation. He's gonna be huge and all muscle all of a sudden or something. We don't know what it looks like yet, but I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty damn cool and intense when we do. But he does know a bit about how Dr. Jekyll's mind works. And, of course, he's also a brilliant chemist. Dr. Jekyll brings up that he doesn't necessarily want to kill her, wants to see if he can tame her, make her into a bunny that Victor, can, pet and, just so easily take care of and love. He believes Victor wants to love her more, so he wants to kill her. But Victor makes him agree that if they can't tame her, then they should destroy her entirely. Which is pretty cool, again, seeing Dr. Jekyll. And we get a really good scene with Vanessa visiting Dr. Seward, upon Mr. Lyle's suggestion. And of course, if you guys had heard about the character being introduced, she looks exactly like the cut wife. And that's because it's played by the same actress, Patti LuPone. I may be mispronouncing her name, but if you guys remember the cut wife back in season 2, that was still a phenomenal episode. The episode's pretty much just solely focused on the two of them, Vanessa and the cut wife. Of course, I was happy that Vanessa actually noticed the resemblance right away, and I'm curious to see whether that's gonna, we're gonna find out more about if there's more of a connection, and we do find out that the cut-wife is actually an ancestor to Dr. Seward, apparently, which is cool. I'm not sure if there's gonna be more going on with that, if she's more of a reincarnation type of thing, or if she's just a relative. And they more so just want the actress back so they could kind of have that strong acting dynamic back and forth between Eva Green and Patti, which would be understandable too, because these two just really have great scenes together. Just great acting, great dialogue between them. Of course, Vanessa agrees to visit her the next day, and what was probably the best part of it was that Dr. Seward already got a pretty good read on her, saying how she's pretty much unhappy, that she's lost something and she believes it's her fault. She carries this immense guilt with her, and a few other things, but I just really liked how Patti LuPone played off that rundown of Vanessa. And this actually started to click something in Vanessa, let's see, but before we talk about that, Vanessa is going home, and then she ends up being followed by this, sort of like dark, pale man. He has his hair's kind of done up in a weird way. We've seen him in the trailer and the teasers. If you guys have been watching those, I always meant to do a video on him, but work. And we see this boy, get a nod from him, and the boy, he's similarly pale. Officer like a paper or something, and then he tells her to save her this day. And I think Vanessa automatically knew, oh shit, this crap's starting again. So she knows they're not completely out of it yet. And then she goes, oh yeah, and Dr. Seward also told her to do something different, to do something she's never done before, to sort of give her a different perspective or a different breath of life, really. And so Vanessa visits like this museum or exhibit type of thing, and it's for a zoologist, and she meets a zoologist named Alexander Sweet, who you also see in the trailer. He talks about his fascination with these types of things, and how someone needs to take care of all the broken and shunned creatures, and I really liked how those lines apply to our characters on the show. Again, that was used very well in the trailers as well, and came out very haunting when you apply it to the show as a whole. Anyway, I don't know if I want Alexander Sweet to be like a new love interest or anything. I've seen the trailers and it seems like they're getting pretty friendly with each other. I want Vanessa to have something like that again, but I don't know, I'd just rather have them focus on her individual. This is part of her individual journey, but I just don't want Vanessa hooking up with someone new every season, But again, if this develops her, then okay, but we don't even know if it's going to go there yet either, so I just love another point I want to make about it. And Dr. Seward also brought up how she gets into these types of connections with people, and then she ends up sort of loathing and self-loathing, really, and she sort of ends up trying to get out of it herself when she feels something, and then she sort of throws it away. I may have explained that wrong, but again, just what scene I'm talking about. But I did like how Alexander Sweet was played. Let's see. And I think it was Dr. Seward's suggestion that sort of like brought this life back in her at the exhibit. And so when she gets home, she starts opening the windows, letting the light in. She starts cleaning, dusting. And she writes more of an honest type of letter to Sir Malcolm. I was actually unsure if she had actually been replying to him, but she writes to him, saying how she hasn't exactly been well, but she's not letting it, hold her down anymore. She's not afraid, she's not in trouble. And that was one of the best scenes of the episode, seeing her get that strength back within herself. I thought it was a really nice scene, like the music going along with it, and seeing her, slowly starting to literally almost pull her life back together. So that was really nicely done too. And we've seen this assistant like outside of Dr. Seward's office, and he goes off later at night, and it looks like he's into prostitutes or something like that, I guess. But he sort of like starts letting out another side to himself, and he ends up being jumped by the pale man, the boy who we've seen following Vanessa earlier. And at first when I was seeing this man in the trailer, I thought he was going to be Dracula, but no, he is not. I was ready to roll with it, I guess, but I'm glad he's not. And this scene was absolutely amazing. We see the man and the boy, talking about the blood in them and stuff, obviously ready to feast now. We see all the other vampires, crawling down from the ceilings and the walls, which look really creepy and cool at the same time. And the music going with it was really good. And then also we have this huge wind gust, and all the other vampires, and even the pale man and the boy, they just, crawl away really quickly. And we basically have the presence of a very powerful figure here. And of course the assistant is in fear, and then we hear this like voice, telling him to look at me, look up, and that's a very bad imitation. We don't see this guy's face, but he basically tells the assistant that he is going to, share information with him about Vanessa as he finds out. And at the end, you know, when it goes to black, we hear, "My name is Dracula," and that was, oh yes. Oh wow, I know this is bad news for our characters right now, but Dracula is one of my favorite, you know, horror characters ever, no question about it. Of course, I'm not expecting it to be like Jonathan Rhys-Meyers' Dracula or Luke Evans or anything like that, but I'm just ready to see how masterful this Penny Dreadful's version of Dracula is going to be. Even if he's more of the traditional evil Dracula, I think it's going to be done really, really well. He's already intense, and you know, he very much has a presence to him already. I really like how they're doing it. And although I want to see what he looks like, I also appreciate that they're keeping him in the shadows right now, keeping him. Maybe we don't know exactly what he looks like yet, so maybe that makes it a little bit scarier right now, perhaps. But we've been getting hints towards Dracula ever since season 1. And season 2, you know, we hear about how Lucifer had a brother, and how, you know, some certain parts of the prophecy, you know, spoke about him and stuff. How one's earthbound, and this is Dracula. And you know, we never heard his name uttered until this episode, though. And I'm just excited as hell, man, to see what he looks like, but also how he continues to stalk and try and gain information on Vanessa. And now I'm never going to look at the assistant the same way. You know, he's probably going to be more sketchy than he already was. But yeah, wow, just a great hook, you know, for the end of the episode, and you know, to get me even more excited about the season than I already was. Penny Dreadful, again, they've just been doing such a good job of mixing some original characters with, you know, these huge horror characters, you know, like the Wolfman and Dracula now, and Frankenstein and such. I was really looking forward to meeting Dracula, and now we have it. And if it goes the way I think it's going to go, it could very well turn into, you know, the best season so far, maybe. But overall, just a great episode, man, a great premiere. Just again emphasizing and re-emphasizing that this is one of the best shows out there, and I cannot wait to see what they do this season. So overall, like I said, phenomenal episode. Oh man. Let me know what you guys thought about it. Of course, you know, the title, as it says, spoilers. I probably should have said this at the beginning, but when you guys do watch the premiere tonight, or if you've already watched it, you know, feel free to leave comments below. I'm sure there's something I didn't talk about, or if there's something you want me to talk more about, feel free to leave a comment below. I'd love to discuss the show more with you guys. It's just such a really well done show, and I really wish it get more recognition than it does. You know, it deserves Emmys all over the place. But yeah, great episode. Really happy to be talking about it again, and it looks like I have next Sunday off, so I'll likely be able to watch it and review it the same night. So yeah, catch you guys next time. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and lookrunespoiled.com. Peace.